Hi, I'm Dave Wolk, and I'm here with my good friend Dave Allaire, the mayor of the city of Rutland. We're both Rutland guys, we're both natives, and very proud of it. We're going to talk to Mayor Allaire, who's running for re-election, about his accomplishments and his hopes and dreams and some other things. So we're really pleased that you could join us. And here we are at this beautiful Recreation Community Center at the College of St. Joseph. And I was thinking, Mayor, I was an alderman back in 1978, and that was 43 years ago, and had to do the math. And I remember we passed a $5,000 allocation to do a study for a new rec center. And since then, there have been dozens of proposals to build a new recreation center for Rutland, which the city has always needed. And here we are in this beautiful facility. And thanks to your leadership and the Board of Aldermen and Kim Peters, your superintendent, who's done such a great job, what a gem she is, and all the voters in Rutland who supported it. Mm-hmm. The community came together, and I just feel so fortunate that we're here in this beautiful jewel for our community. So thank you for your leadership on that as well. And last year I was superintendent in Rutland City for the school department. They kind of got desperate at the last minute and asked me to do it, so I filled in for a year. And we had a great partnership, and we worked really well together. And I want to thank you for that. A lot of gratitude to you for how we worked together in terms of partnering and buying and sharing this facility, mm-hmm. and all the other things we did together. You were a really good supporter of the schools. So we're going to start with something personal that I think folks in Rutland would like to know more about. And I want to embarrass you, but I look at you as sort of a modern day profile in courage. Your perseverance in dealing with cancer in the age of COVID and in the public eye was pretty breathtaking, the way you handled yourself with such grace and dignity throughout that whole process, through your diagnosis and treatment. And you're looking great, and it's wonderful to have you back. But I just want to say that I admire you a lot for the way you've conducted yourself. And so everyone wants to know, what was it like for you in the last year, and how are you doing now?
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with the community and with me today about the campaign and about everything that goes along with that. I'm feeling great. I consider myself one of the luckiest people on the face of the earth right now. I was diagnosed in March, just about the same time that COVID-19 came along. And, like anyone else who faces that kind of diagnosis, they ask a lot of questions, and there's a lot of unknowns. And I kept thinking to myself, I got another year of my term. What they're doing with modern medicine these days, it's just amazing. We have the Foley Cancer Center here in the city of Rutland. We're so lucky to have that. And I had a great team of doctors. But more importantly, I had the support system at home, my colleagues at work, friends such as yourself, and the community really stepped up and supported me. And we got through it. Now 9 months later, I can't say enough about the team down at RRMC and over at Dartmouth Hitchcock. They got me to where I am today, and I feel great.
So that's how you're feeling today. You feel great. Is your prognosis pretty good?
My prognosis is tremendous. I wouldn't have taken this on for another 2-year term if I didn't feel I could give 100% to the city of Rutland and to the taxpayers, because that's what they deserve. They deserve a mayor who can go in there and get the job done. And, we've done a lot of good stuff in the last 4 years, built on the trust that I think that people have gotten to know me over a long period of time. And there's some things I'd like to finish for the next couple of years.
Excellent. Well, let's talk about that. That's a great segue. Wanted to ask you about this. You've been mayor for 4 years. You were an alderman before that. You've had 22 consecutive years of public service. You've accomplished a lot. Tell us what you think your major accomplishments have been over that time and in the last 4 years as mayor. And you're a modest guy, so this is not a time for humility. This is a time to accentuate the positive, okay?
Well, I will talk more about what happened 4 years ago when I was first elected mayor. You know, it was a very divisive time in the city. There was a lot of issues that were on people's minds, and we weren't talking with each other, we were talking at each other. And I felt that someone needed to step up to bring us together and to move the city forward and concentrate on what was important: economic development, you know, our streets, public safety, the opioid crisis, the stuff that you know, was going to take us out 10, 20, 30 years, you know, so we could look back and say, you know, that was a real pivot point for the city of Rutland. And I felt like, you know, it was my time. And luckily and thankfully, the people of the city of Rutland felt the same way. And you know, I think we've had a great 4 years. You know, there's some other things I'd like to do for the next term, and then maybe pass the baton off to someone in a couple of years.
So there are many accomplishments. I read your campaign announcement. What are some of the highlights, do you think, of the last 4 years that you would want to build on? And again, this is not a time for modesty.
Well, there was a number of projects that had been languishing for a long time, running up to 2017. One of them was, you know, which at some point doesn't seem so important, but it really is, and that's White's Pool. You know, we'd always had a municipal swimming pool here in the community. Growing up, we had one on North Main Street, which I frequented quite a bit.
Likewise.
And then down at White's. And, you know, that is 2.5 months in the summer where people can come together and share you know, a really positive experience. And I think that it was important to get that project done, and it made people feel good about their community, and that if you could do something like that, there are other things that you could do too. And so, you know, we had some great leadership in the rec department with Kim Peters, and we got the job done, and we got it under budget and opened, and it's been successful the last 2 or 3 years. Thousands of people have frequented the Rutland City Pool, and that's just an example of some of the things that when you come together and you work together, that you can get it done. You know, that was important. Building on that, the Center Street Marketplace, a new city park right in the middle of our downtown. You know, another project that had just languished for a long, long time. And actually, that one was 10 years. So I put a project manager in place, Brendan Duffy from the Redevelopment Authority, and we got to work on that. And within 6-8 months, it was open. We had a great grand opening. Our senior senator came down to help us out, as well as Peter Welch and Pat Leahy, and we had a real celebration. And again, it was an opportunity for the people of the city to celebrate an accomplishment. And it just showed that, again, you know, we have there's a commonality. There's things that when you can point to something and it's an achievement, then it really speaks well for some of the other bigger things that maybe you need to do down the road.
Well, that's an impressive array of accomplishments. I know there are others as well. So with that behind you, I mean, here we are sitting in one of them, and I mentioned this at the beginning. But by the way, for viewers, we are socially distanced. We wore our masks in. We took our masks off when we started. We'll put our masks on again when we finish. But here we are in this wonderful facility. It's just it's tangible because you can see it and feel it. But there are a lot of intangible things that you've done too, in terms of sort of creating calm and the way you've conducted yourself, from what I have seen, with a lot of dignity, both during your illness and before and after your illness, is pretty impressive. So with that behind you, what are some of your hopes and dreams going forward, Dave?
Well, you know, I've always tried to concentrate on the nuts and bolts of running a city, you know, keeping our taxes stable, looking at the infrastructure. And I think right now, for the next couple of years, it's what's life going to be like post-COVID. You know, eventually, people are going to get inoculated. We're going to be able to come together again, and there's some issues that we need to address. And I think economic development and getting our downtown back in order, those are some of the things that I've heard people talk about that they want to see. You know, during this last holiday season, there was a lot of people that came into town that did their shopping, but they weren't necessarily in the downtown core because the number of vacancies are fairly high in the small shops that just haven't been able to survive, in this COVID world. I think what people want to see is their downtown, maybe not the way it was before, but they want to see it populated. They want to see activity down there. They want to see events. They want to be able to go down and communicate with each other and just enjoy each other's company. Because we're a small town, everyone knows each other or they're related,
Right.
which is a good thing, I think.
It is.
And those are the type of things that I think people are looking for. And they're looking for leadership, and they're looking for someone they can count on. And that's what I've tried to provide for the last 4 years, and I'd like to do that for another 2.
That's a perfect segue to my next question. Leadership. Everyone always wants to know, what motivates and guides leaders. So when you're making a decision as a Rutlander on behalf of the city, what guides you in your decision making? What do you think about when you're making a decision?
Yeah, I think the way I've tried to approach those kinds of decisions is to make sure that I've listened to all sides, that I've gotten the people who may know, maybe experts in their field, that certainly know a lot about a particular issue better than I do. But I want to get as much information and listen as much as I can, and then think about, okay, what is this decision going to mean for the taxpayers of the city of Rutland? What's it going to mean in 10, 20, 30 years? And is this a positive move for the city and for the whole region? Because I try to think of the community as not just the city, although that's who I represent, but certainly for the whole region, because I'm a firm believer in what's good for the Rutland County and Rutland Town, and for instance, is good for the city. So I try to look at it, take as much information as I possibly can, and listen to what everybody has to say, make that decision, and then think about, okay, what's it going to be like when my kids are my age?
Excellent. So you look to the future, you think about how it affects kids and their future as well.
Absolutely.
So I have one final question for you, and that is, you're a Rutlander. You're a Rutland guy. You were born and raised here, and there aren't that many of us left, which is fine that people move here and love our city as we do. But you have a fairly unique perspective. What does it mean to you to be from Rutland, and what does it mean to you to be mayor of the city of Rutland? That's my last question.
Well, it's like a dream come true. After serving for so long on the Board of Aldermen and seeing how much of a difference a mayor can possibly make, I thought, what a great aspiration for not just me, but for, the next generation of young people coming up. Because we want, people to stay here. We want, the graduates of Mount St. Joseph Academy, as well as Rutland High School, to think about not their first thought moving away, but their first thought, what's it going to be like if I decide to stay here and raise my family here? We've got a wonderful community. When the chips are down, that's when our best days seem to happen. The blood drive, the natural disasters, those things happen. We're at our best, and we help each other. And yeah, we like to, fight and argue a little bit, like most families do. But in the end, we are one, and that's what I want people of the city of Rutland to think about. Think about all the good stuff that we do here in the city, and think about what they want for the next few years for the city of Rutland.
That is very impressive. Thank you, Mayor Allaire.
Well, I appreciate you sitting down and having a chat with me. It's important for me to get out in front and talk to the folks here in the community. It's a big decision that's coming up here in 5 or 6 weeks, and I really look forward to talking to as many people as I possibly can. So thank you.
I'm sure you will. Well, good luck.
All right. You got it.